Hi guys, my name is Wilson, and recently I made a video concerning the May 29 inauguration. And in the video, I narrated a dream that I had. And of course, I posted on social media, and there were certain reactions from different quarter of people. There were some people who were happy with the video because the video sort of like supported, or you know maybe the video sort of like supported whoever they believe won the election, and some other people were not happy because the video did not actually support their candidate. But I'm here to tell you that whoever you support, whoever is your candidate, we need to understand that we are first Nigerians, that we don't have to fight over these things. What's important in this is we need to understand the mind of God. We need to understand what God is saying. Sometimes the direction God tends to go might not be the direction that we want to go. Sometimes the things that God wants might not be the things we want. In fact, sometimes we make plans and God comes in and say that plan will not hold. So the sooner we find out what God's plan is, the better we can align with that plan and just go along with it. Anyone who goes in the opposite direction to the plan of God would feel as if, to be as if you were just going against a train running 500 kilometers per hour head on. You can't survive it. So we don't want to go against the plan of God. And I know some people were saying that that dream might just be a figment of my imagination. You may be right, and some other people were saying stuff like maybe they said I sleep too much, maybe you're right. But I don't want to argue that if it was my imagination, if it was just me thinking out loud, or if it is God. Let's wait on the inauguration day, or after the inauguration. Let's find out if God had spoken or not. But one thing I want to appeal to you guys as Nigerians is that we mustn't fight about these things. Let's love one another. Our opinions, our ideologies, and our whole, whatever we like and support might be different. But we should always understand that first, we're humans, and God actually wants us, to love each other regardless of our differences. So I'm just going to make a follow-up video, to that one that I made. And this time also, it was a dream. But I had this dream in 2019. So this is just to tell you that, the issues of these elections and who's going to be the president of Nigeria, it is not something that I just started saying. That God has been showing me this for many years before even the elections. So in 2019, the elections was between President Muhammadu Buhari and Atiku Abubakar. At the time, the country was experiencing, a lot of insecurity. There was unemployment crisis here and there. So many people wanted Buhari out. I must confess that I also wanted him out because I didn't like the direction the country was moving. So when the elections came, I supported and voted for Atiku Abubakar. Now, at the time, people were like, oh, it was a thing of choosing between two evils. So you go for the lesser evil. For me, I just wanted a different person there because he had tried, Buhari had tried, and he didn't get it right. So let somebody else try, So when the result were announced, we were not happy because people said the elections were rigged and all that. So we waited for the judiciary to make the right amends, and nothing changed, And Buhari went on to become the president, and then led for another 4 years. In a few days, it's going to be another 4 years, So in total, 8 years. So this brings me back to what I said earlier. In 2019, majority of the Nigerians did not like what was going on in the country. There was killing, there was unemployment, there was all these problems. But God wanted the man that you did not want. We say we didn't want Buhari, but God wanted him. So do you ever think that the situation can play out in that way. That somebody that you think is not the right man, but God is saying is the right person. Is this same sort of situation playing out in 2023? Anyway, let's leave that for another day. So back to the dream I had in 2019. In 2019, I was taken to Aso Rock, right? And this was just after the elections. I was taken to Aso Rock, and in Aso Rock, I saw President Muhammadu Buhari seated with all those people who are always behind him. I remember seeing the late Chief of Staff, Abakir, he was there, and these other people who were there who always, speak to him or probably give him advice, So they were deliberating what to tell Nigerians because election had just held and they needed to speak to Nigerians because Nigerians were not happy. So they needed to say something to Nigerians, whether the elections were rigged, whether they were going to do something about it, whatever. They needed to speak to Nigerians. So they were there deliberating what to say. And I remember as they were seated, suddenly President Buhari stood up and walked to a camera that was already set up for a live broadcast. He needed to speak to Nigerians. So he stood up all of a sudden without even those who were with him, knowing what he was going to do. What he wanted to do. Him alone at the time knew what he wanted to do. It was a surprise to everybody who was there. So he stood up, and then once he got to the camera, he started speaking to Nigerians. He did not say the elections was rigged. He didn't say it was in favor of APC and all that. There was a man who was standing next to him. All Buhari did was to lift the hand of the man up and say, Nigerians, this is your president. Now, when I looked at the man, he was, narrowly built. He wasn't a big man or heavily built. If he was heavily built, I would say, oh, that was Atiku because the election was between Buhari and Atiku, but he did not look like anything like Atiku. And then he didn't look like any one of the people who were fighting at the court at the time against that election. But you know how you wake up from a dream or how you are in a dream, you might have not seen the face of a particular person, but in that dream, you can tell by the feelings you have that this is this certain person. I had such feeling in that dream. From that dream, while I was in it at the time, I knew that the person he raised his hands and said, this is your president, is none other but Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. Now, Osibanjo was a neutral. He was a vice president. He didn't contest the elections. So I was confused. Why would you announce somebody who did not contest the election as the president? So the entourage or the people who were with Buhari were pissed. They were super mad because they did not know he was going to do what he did. They were furious, and I woke up from that dream. I woke up, I was very confused myself, like I thought the elections was between Atiku and Buhari. What is a guy who did not contest the election now being announced as the president? I did not understand it. And when I tried to ask God about it, he wouldn't say anything. So I left that dream. I have a habit of always writing down my dreams. Once I get up, I write it down in a book. I write a date and I keep it. So I recorded the dream and I left it there. God never said anything about that dream again. It was only recently that I began to understand. I went back to that dream, I read it again, and I understood that what God showed me in 2019 was not the outcome of 2019 election. It was the outcome of 2023 election. He just showed me what was going to happen in 2023, in 2019. At the time, I didn't understand it, but now I understand it. Now, am I saying that the vice president is going to become the next president of Nigeria? I'm going to leave you to make that assumption, so to go back and ask God yourself. But I'm just trying to piece this story for you bit by bit, that these things did not start yesterday. I have so many other dreams I'll be sharing with you guys concerning this same thing, how we got here. And they all came at different time. In fact, the last one I shared with you guys about 4 days ago was the latest one. What I'm sharing with you guys now was from 2019. I still have stuff about the same thing from 2020 or so, you know, and yeah, many more. As time goes, if God permits, I'll share more with you guys. So is he going to become the president of Nigeria? I'll leave you to discover or find out for yourself. And what I want to appeal to you guys as Nigerians is that let's understand first what God is saying, and then we can align ourselves with the plan of God. Once you can align yourself with the plan of God, there is no reason for you to fight a man or argue with a man whose opinion or whose belief is different from yours, because you understand the plans of God. If we had understood the plan of God in 2019, there was no reason fighting against President Muhammadu Buhari, because God still wanted him there. So what you need to do, don't argue unnecessarily. Don't tweet because you feel like this dream does not favor your candidate. And then you have to tweet something or say something harsh to somebody. Don't do that. Just try to understand what is God saying. Once you do that, you can get along with the plan of God. Why? Because it is best for you to understand the plan of God and move with it. There is nobody that has ever become anything in this life without God approving. Has God approved that person you're supporting? If no, align with the plans of God and let's move on as a country. My dream for this nation is that Nigeria becomes what God intends for it to be: a giant among nations, a strong nation, a God-fearing nation, a prosperous nation, that we all can live the dreams that we have nursed from childhood. God bless you guys. And I'll see you guys, hopefully, maybe, in the next video.